ladies and gentlemen, of Northwest Peg Access. So we got a gentleman and a guest in the studio that I've known for many, many years. We're going to be talking about radio and when I used to have WWSR, and this gentleman's got more knowledge than probably anybody in Franklin County about radio, and it's Mr. Ernie Farrar. Thank you for coming up to the studio and doing the show.
Oh, you're welcome, Dave. You're welcome. This is completely different because I'm usually on the other side of the mic asking the questions, and you're over there asking me the questions.
Yeah.
It started here. I was only 20 years old. We're going back a ways now when I started here in St. Albans at WWSR. Of course, I worked, over in Barrie, WSNO, which was owned by the Kimmel, Robert I. Kimmel, along with his partner. And they had an opening here in St. Albans. And he said, "Are you interested?" "Sure." "Well, you want to interview?" "Sure, I do." So that's how it all started, that I came over here in 1963.
So that was when the WWSI was originally here and started in the St. Albans area?
Right. We were located up over the Blue Lion restaurant.
I remember that.
Grill. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then right across from us was Vermont Loan. So you check your paycheck, you may have to go across to get a loan from Vermont Loan. So that's where it started. But a very interesting thing. I replaced M.J. Morrill here, and he eventually went by just J. Morrill. And where did he leave? Where did he go? He went to WVMT. So he went the VMT way. I spent 3 years here, and the boss was going through town and heard me on the air and asked if I would be interested in coming down to WVMT. So I said, sure, that's a step up. It's the wattage is more and whatnot. It was 5,000 watt. And so I said, sure. So I went and got the job, and then Bob Kimmel didn't want me to leave. He said, "Ernie, don't go down there. Don't go down there. You'll be sorry. you aren't going to last a year." So I lasted 52 years there, but had other opportunities to go as well. But it was great. It really was. 56 years in the business. And I always say just living a dream, and that's what happened. I started, Dave, way back. I wanted to get into radio way back when I was in probably the 5th grade, when you used to make the old crystal radios and put a piece of wire out the window and get the local station. So it was really living a dream and coming into radio full-time, and that's the way it's been since I was 20 years old. Of course, I went to school in Boston for a year, radio TV, and then I got the job. And then I was sent back to school to do engineering work as well. So I went to 2 schools. So, and everybody thinks, oh, you be a DJ, that's what it's all about. Well, it's a little bit more than that, and it's learning all facets of the business. And really, when I look at right here with WWSR, I started out with John Kimmel, I think it was John, and we did Little League Baseball.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then John and we also did BFA football on a Saturday. It was a daytime station, so that's when they played the afternoon games, and we did that. So, you're getting your foot in the door, and they also covered council meetings too. I did some of that as well. So you're getting a well-rounded background, and that's where it started, right here in St. Albans.
So how many employees did they have at this radio station back in your day?
Let me see here. On the air, of course, we were a daytimer, of course, so I was doing mornings, and I think the mornings lasted till noon around there. And then I'm trying to think who else they had. Ray Shalhoub. I don't know if you ever remember Ray Shalhoub. Remember Ray? Ray was also on the air. Then he became news director, and he did that. And we always call him Barney Shalhoub, just like Barney on Griffith. And then you had salespeople. You had Don Tessier. He was in sales. And you had Gunnar Tosh. He was in sales. Then there was Bob Schmidt. He was there, too. He went on the air. And Jack Sanders. And then, of course, you have a lot of the locals, too. John Barabee. There was, let me see who else was there, too. Jack Dodd, he also worked there as well.
Rick Tatro.
Who's that?
Rick Tatro?
Yeah, not in my, he wasn't there when I don't think he was born yet. So that's where it all started, Dave. That's where it all started.
So, how much of a watch station was it here locally when it started?
I think it was think it was 250 watts. I think it might have been 1,000 watts, and then 250 late in the afternoon when you had to drop the power down. Yeah. But it had good coverage. It did. And people, listeners still say, "Gee, I used to listen to you for school closings." Now, I mean, that was going back way back.
That's right.
Yeah. Way back, and you know, it was good. You know, going into WVMT again. George Camry, great boss. He was a great guy, and I worked with him for 20 years before he retired. And one of the good things is, Dave, with this, he wanted you to learn the business, you know, learn all aspects of the business. Because I said, "Why is that?" And he says, "Well, you never know when you're going to be needed." And it so happened that it come up that Jack Berry, probably one of the best talk show hosts in this area, or in Vermont, I should say, he got sick and he couldn't make his afternoon show. I think it was about 11 or around noontime. So they said, "Here you go, Ernie, it's all yours. You were taught well. Jack gave you the hints." Boy, oh boy, you don't know what you're going to get for you know. So that was one aspect of it. Another one is I walked the news beat in Burlington. You don't have that anymore. Yeah. And Richard Copperthwaite would tell you the same thing. You don't see that or you don't hear that. So what happened when I used to walk split shift, I'd go in and work the news in the morning. I'd get out and walk the beat. And Gordy Paquette at the time was the mayor. You know who defeated Gordy Paquette? Your friend, Bernardo. Bernie Sanders. And so we did that. And the county prosecutor was none other than Senator Patrick Leahy. So you got to know all of these people. And then I also went to the fire chief, and it was great because you had to learn from the ground up. And it was good. Just a little cough, that's all. I got a cold, so you had to learn, and it was very, very good. And had some good people that I worked with coming up through. And also had to, as I put the news together, I did a whole hour news block at night from 5 until 6. And you were using a sports person, you were using a person board op for you, and I put everything together. So you see there again, it was more than music. Plus I did have the first country music show in Burlington too. And that's another aspect. There's another one, I had an opportunity to move on from there. And one of them was the big station in Nashville, Tennessee, WSM, home of the Grand Ole Opry. Geez, Dave, you got to realize I was only a kid. I wasn't about to step into those big shoes. No way. But there was opportunities, you know, that come along. Yeah. But they always say, once a Vermonter, Dave, you're always a Vermonter. Yeah. You know, I had some good times, and there's a lot of things that go on behind the mic and whatnot. I'll tell you, there was two people that I worked with that were very good. Number one was Greg Mumley, you know, Nick's father. And then the other was Charlie. Well, Greg used to do some funny stuff. I mean, it was real fun. And one of the ones we got written up on, and I'm going to tell you that, and we still laugh about it. I was going to work in the early hours one morning, and there was a police car parked as you get off exit 17. In the car was one of those blow-up police officers. You ever seen those? Some areas. Oh. You ever seen? Yeah, and it's a blown-up police officer sitting there. So I went on the air, and I wasn't mean to anybody. I said, "Greg, you got to listen to this. I saw a police car with a dummy in it today." Not meaning that anything about a police officer, anything like that. Wow. And people started coming by, and they were calling. They were heading on to work at, over at IBM. "Ernie, you're right. You got a dummy in the police car up here." So I said, "Boy, maybe we better stop that." And it went on. So, yeah, we got written up for it. It was a police chief. I think it was the officer who is now chief in Colchester, and got a hold of the boss. And so Greg and I heard about that pretty good. and there was a lot of other things that Greg used to do. And that guy, his production was unreal. And he used to do the board hopping too. So that's just one instance. And then you got Charlie and I. And so you're going from music now into talk radio. And we went out on top. And if I had already planned on retiring on January 9th. Everybody say, well, why January 9th? Well, January 9th, back in '67, that's when I started on the air at WVMT. So I said, well, I'll go out then. But the station was sold. We took our vacation up to the 31st of, December. And then we decided, well, it's time to go. So lacking 9 days, I think it is, David, in 52 years.
52 years in radio.
That's right.
Yeah. So what was your day like? What time did you start? What time did you get up?
Well, my day started, oh boy, I'd get up 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. You never knew in the wintertime, the road situation, And I would get to work. I'd always want to be there by 3 o'clock. And then you start the whole thing with, you have to get the promos ready to go on what you're going to do for that day. Do the promo, and then you have to go through all of the press releases that come through overnight and police reports and so on. So it took some time, and then you had to get your promo in by like 5 o'clock, and then work continued, working on the news and what's going on for the day, right up until you went on at 6 o'clock. And it was great. It was great. And Charlie and I, we had a great time. And then another incident that was pulled was back on my 30th year there. Charlie said, coming up tomorrow, Ernie's got a special announcement he's going to have. And I said, wait a minute. You want to have a special? Yeah, you got a special announcement coming up. It's April Fool's. So the next day, I caught on, and he told me about it, and I said, well, okay, we'll do that. And I wrote up that I'm going to be retiring after 30 years here at WVMT. It's time to go, et cetera, et cetera. In the studio comes a person with his resume. He thought it was true. The Free Press Call wanted an interview. Channel 3 wanted to come over and talk with me. And I said, wait, we better tell him it's a joke. It's a joke. So that was just one of the others. But there's so many things that happened. But it was a great career. I really enjoyed it, all 56 years.
What made you want to get into radio?
Yeah, well, it's something, Dave, back then, I was only, 5th, 6th grade, somewhere around in there. And they had started the station in Newport, IKE. And before that as well, I used to get into the Crystal radios. So when they went on the air, I, was able to listen to them on the Crystal radio. So poor couldn't pay attention or get a radio anyway, but it worked. So your interest went up from there. It really did. Yeah. Had a great time with it, sure.
So where were you born and brought up?
Oh, I'm from the other side of the mountain, as they say here. I'm a Newporter. I'm, in the Northeast Kingdom. Graduated from Newport High School in '61, and then went on. I worked a year to try to get some money to go back to school, and then we went from there to Boston, and then back and started work. So that's where it all started. But now you go over to Boston, Newport. They've got the big hole in the street over there, hole in the wow. And Burlington is a little worried about that too, of what's going on with Marketplace down there, or City Place. And they're afraid maybe that's going to happen to them, but it's not going to happen. It's not. And
I think there's too many watchdogs now.
Oh, there is. There really is. There really is. And it's too bad with Newport and what they did and what happened there with the with EB5
EP5,
yeah. And some people tore that whole block. There's history there, and I don't know why anybody in the city council in Newport would allow that to happen with the history.
Yeah.
But they did. I guess money talks, nobody walks.
That's a beautiful little village up there, because I've been up there numerous times.
Right.
My mother and father lived in North Troy.
Oh, your father? Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, he told me about that. He was a Kingdomite.
Yeah.
He was. Oh, yeah. But it's over there, and when I went to school in Boston, I'd never been out of Newport, that area. So you go into a big city, Dave, scared to death.
Oh, yeah. Must be going from Newport to Boston, the city of Boston.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much in the background. It is, and it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it immensely.
Who are some of the guests that you've had on? Some of the nicest, weirdest, and...
one of the things I ought to mention was you have the worst sport... No, what is the sports show? What do you call it?
Yeah, sports show. Our sports show you're here on TV.
With
Richard Copperthwaite and Rick Tatro and
Yeah.
Handy and Mumley.
Who's the Yankee fan on here?
Isn't it Rick Tatro?
Tatro?
Yeah.
We interviewed. I'm not a Yankee fan. It goes way back. Goes way back. Interviewed the catcher. I can't even think of his name. See, you get old, Dave. And
Yeah, well, we're all getting older. You know?
So he came on with us, and a great guest. He really was. Let me see. I did. I also did NASCAR too. I did a show every Saturday night from Catamount Stadium.
Yeah, I
so you
remember
talk
that.
with a lot of people, a lot of the number one drivers that came up from the South. So you met a lot of them. And then I covered NASCAR North as well. I won 3 awards too in doing the program. And Nick is doing some racing here now.
Yeah, he is.
And so he calls me up and wants to know about the racing. So I said my show was the Inside Groove, which he uses.
Yeah.
But I call it the Inside Groove the fastest half hour on radio.
Yeah.
So within that, I belong to a press and radio by invite to cover NASCAR. And I can't remember the name, but 3 of my programs, I won 3 national awards as judged by UCal at Irvine, University of California, Irvine, by their journalist department. And that was pretty good too, 3 of those. Then I won a awarded the Vermont Sportscaster Award. I don't want to think I'm bragging, I'm just telling you some of the background.
Yeah.
2 Halls of Fame. 1999 was the Vermont Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame. 2015 was the Vermont Sports Hall of Fame. And a lot of this was with the Vermont Sports Hall of Fame was the years that I covered doing boxing and amateur boxing, that is, and getting kids off the street.
Yeah, you gave them something to do.
Right, right. And, a lot of them would tell you that, too, today. They would come up and say, Ernie, thanks a lot. It got me off the street into the gym. Yeah. So it's been very interesting with the 2 Halls of Fame and so forth.
Who were some of the guests that you had on your radio station when you were on WVMT?
Oh, one of the biggest ones was your buddy, Bernie Sanders. And I'm going to tell you about Bernie because my boss, he was a Republican. But then he turned Democrat later. But anyway, he was a Republican. And I interviewed Bernie numerous times. And he would go in and talk with George Cameron. And George would tell me, he says, Ernie, Bernie, he's going to be a person to be reckoned with politically down the road. He says, you wait and see. And I said, yeah, right. Look where Bernie is today.
Yeah.
See? And Bernie was one of the good ones. I had Gordy Paquette, he was on. And I'm talking about the local people. Yeah. And Mr. Pomerleau.
Did you ever have Howard Dean on?
Oh, Howard? Why, of course.
Well, I had him on a show one time, and we were closing down the rest areas.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. And I went after him. I said, I want to bake you guys a chocolate cake, fill it full of X-Lax, and close half the bathrooms down there in Montpelier and see what you guys like.
Yogi Berra's the catcher of the Yankees. And he was funny, And I just go back a little bit because I couldn't remember his name at the time. It was his son. His son played football. I think it was Massachusetts or Connecticut. That's when UVM used to play football. And I looked down there one day, and there's Yogi because his boy was playing. And so, nobody was never announced because people would have been over there to see him. And we asked him one time, Yogi, where do you get all those sayings, Well, you just come to it. It just comes automatically. So we got through with the interview, and we appreciated it very much. And Yogi, anything you have to say? Yeah, you see the fork in the road, take it. So, but it was great. So I've had a lot of people, interviewed a lot of people. And when I was doing the country show, Bill Anderson, he used to call me quite frequently out of Nashville, Tennessee, if he was on tour. And, you'd get these people that would call. Yeah. And it was very interesting. It's just like now with Charlie and myself. And, we had a guest on most of the time, and doing a lot of political stuff too now. The sessions back in Montpelier, watch your wallet, but anyway, that's beside the point.
That's right, watch your wallet.
Oh yeah, and then I've been asked, are you going to run for office? No, I'm going to run from it. But you've run a few times.
I've been on the select board twice. I got a petition yesterday. They want me to run for select board again, but I might not be here in October. I might be looking for.
Are you one of those going to leave the state?
I might be one of those going to leave the state.
Can't afford it any longer.
They tax my pension, my Social Security.
Oh, yeah.
Taxes are so high in Vermont. They're going to have a utility tax in St. Albans Town, which is stormwater runoff. If they put that carbon tax, there's going to be a line of people leaving the state by the flock.
That's a little ridiculous. The carbon tax. But what are you going to do? Look at the Governor Phil Scott. He left. He went out to Arizona. Come right back. It wasn't for that.
Well,
reason.
I'll come back here in spring and May through September, but my wife's going to have an operation. She's going to have a hip replacement. So depending upon that, whether I leave this year or next year, but,
should be fine. I've had both of them done, so there's not a problem there, Dave. Oh, really. But it's been a great career, really has. And, it's been like a mixture. You get into radio, you think you're doing all of the music, which is far from it. You're learning a lot of things, doing a lot of things, and that's the way we went out on top. And appreciate it. We really did. All the support we had.
In radio, is it a lot harder because the way the media is today to get advertisement on radio? I know that happened to WWSR here locally, that they didn't seem to have as many advertisers. So,
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, that could be because you don't have a number of salespeople going out, selling the product.
Yeah.
And that could happen, but no, there shouldn't be a problem. Getting the commercials on the air.
How hard would it be to start up an FM radio station here locally?
Well, a lot of paperwork you have to go through, of course. As long as you got some money, to do it, you could probably do it. I think St. Albans needs a station. I do.
There's nothing here anymore.
Right. And, and when I started, way back in 63, it was a bustling town. Not to say it isn't now.
Yeah.
But look at the stores you had on Main Street.
Yeah.
And the crowds that you had there on a Friday or a Saturday, it was unreal. Not to say that isn't happening now.
Yeah.
Believe me, I'm not trying to, downgrade the city whatsoever.
No, I just hope the TIF district works because you taxpayers are going to pay the balance. But, I think we do need a radio station back here in St. Albans.
It would be nice. It would. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be such a fancy place, but, one time we were talking about having one here, but we never looked into it because right now the FCC wants to, Comcast wants to defund public access. And if they do that, this TV,
you lose money, you lose the funding?
We lose about $350,000, somewhere in that area.
Wow, that's not good. Now, that hasn't progressed that much, has it?
No, it's before the FCC, and it'll take 8 or 9 months before. So everybody's working and trying to get people send letters into, the FCC saying, don't go this way, that public access. There's about 12, 15 stations in the state of Vermont, and I don't know how many throughout the United States. But this provides a public service to the people that are shut-ins, where people can't get out, that may be in nursing homes or elderly that don't want to go out in the wintertime. So, they do over 5,000 shows here.
This is a beautiful facility you have here.
Yeah.
I wasn't there when you were part of, you were in BFA.
Yeah, we were in BFA for about 12 to 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
We had Paul Legacy, who was, the first executive director we have.
Mm-hmm.
I miss him because, he was an outstanding guy. I remember one day he got so mad at me. He called me a dirty word. And then he called me up that night, David, I apologize. I just lost it. I said, something?
That's not good.
If you're apologizing, I'll accept it.
Yeah.
But something, Paul. I said, you're
Right.
an outstanding executive director. So,
But this is great. You have plenty of room.
yeah.
You see that? Great control room. And,
Up to BFA, we were stuck in a closet. And we had our studio was probably about 15 feet wide and about 40 feet long. But BFA did us well. We were able to save a lot of money to start this station up here.
So this opened recently, didn't it? It's
been open about 6 or 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
We started billing in the I think it was in the fall or the first part of winter of last year, and it's we got all our permits. There's $21,000 in permits in this building.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
I wouldn't build an igloo in Vermont, even though I know it in Mel.
See, Act 250 now they're trying to rehash that again.
Yeah.
They're going to have to.
They better, because nobody wants to come to Vermont. When a governor says, if you come to Vermont and work here, we'll give you $10,000. You better give $10,000 to the people that want to leave here because the taxes are so high.
That's right. Oh well.
But
it's.
How long have you lived in the city of St. Albans? You've lived here quite a few years.
Oh yeah, I've been here. I was in the town briefly too. I was in the town for a while.
Yeah.
And then into the city. I've been around here, since I started here at in St. Albans. It goes way back. Yeah.
Let's talk about your staunch Republican partner there.
Oh, Charlie. Charlie, Pizza Papillo. Charlie, he's a great, he really is. I mean, if you had two people talking, doing a talk show, you both agreed on everything, it doesn't make a good show.
That's right.
So you gotta throw, a little clink in there once in a while.
I used to go after you guys.
Oh, I know you did.
Because you guys used to have people bringing in food, and I said, no wonder you guys are getting fat and ugly down there.
We ate very well. We did, Dave. We ate very well.
And then Charlie started going after the people that were standing on the corner asking for money.
Oh, yeah.
And I called up and I said to Charlie, I said, hey, it's no different than you, telling people bring in good eating food.
Right.
Like Sam Massett would bring in stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Senator Mazza, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He'd come in.
Yeah.
And then now we have a Republican coffee with Kurt. Not us, I mean the new group. He comes in and I'm telling you, we used to eat a lot. But see, most of that too was the advertisement.
Yeah.
That they advertised, and we had a restaurant month every month. It'd be a different restaurant.
Then did you do fundraisers where if you brought in some food, you could be on the radio and talk about your candidacy?
There probably was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, probably was, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, the good old days.
Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah.
The good old days.
Yeah.
And
as we get older, the world changes and people change. You maybe like 25 years ago, but you're not like now. It's a different world out there now.
One of the things I just did, I was with Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
The Escape at Dannemora.
Yeah.
If you listen carefully, you'll hear me in there.
You did?
Yeah. Charlie too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they called us, and Ben Stiller had his secretary call us and wanted us to participate. So
not as one of the inmates.
No. It's doing a radio. It would sound like doing a newscast.
Yeah.
Just maybe 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm right at the beginning, and they put Charlie down somewhere in the middle. But it was very interesting to be asked to do something like that.
Yeah.
And pay pretty good.
Yeah. I'm surprised you weren't in on that show called Loving and Laughing.
What?
That was done in St. Albans. You remember that one?
Oh, yeah, I do. No.
But
the memories.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, how old are you now, Ernie?
I'm going to be 76 on the 4th of February.
4th of February. Well, happy birthday. In case I don't see you, I'm 67. I'm going to be 68.
So you're just a kid?
I know it.
Just a kid.
Yeah.
I knew your father well.
Yeah.
Oh, he was a great guy. He was a great guy, yeah.
Yeah. He was skinny. I don't think he weighed more than 90 pounds.
Oh, and laugh.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd get going, and son of a gun.
Yeah.
There was no end to it, David.
I remember my father was an alcoholic,
Yeah.
you knew that. And one day he got drunk and he out in front of Giro's Furniture, used to be on the Swanton Road. He hit a telephone guide wire there.
Yes.
And I was standing right beside him. He didn't even know his own son was
He didn't. No. And I also know that our lights went out that night, too. It did.
But my father, when he was sober, he'd give you the shirt off his back.
Yes, he would. Yes,
Yeah,
he would.
yeah, yeah.
There's no doubt about it. And the good part, he was from the Northeast Kingdom as well.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. North
Yeah.
Troy, familiar with that, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Newport, all of that over there. It's a great place. But when I come over here, I'd never been to Franklin County.
No?
Never been to St. Albans. It's the other side of the mountain.
Yeah.
And that's basically what it is, too.
I know it's about a 90-mile drive up there, isn't it?
Oh, probably 65, something like that. Yeah, maybe less.
Yeah.
Just watch it going up over 105 there from Richford.
Yeah.
On a day like we're going to have this weekend.
Oh, yeah. They're saying we're talking 6 to 18 inches.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So better watch it now. We don't want to date ourselves. See,
Yeah.
Come June, if you play this,
Yeah.
somebody said it's going to be snowing this weekend.
They'll probably put it in the archives.
Right.
Two old troublemakers from Franklin County.
That's not good. That's not good. But this has been great,
Yeah.
Dave.
Well,
it really has.
I appreciate you coming in. I know at first you didn't know whether you wanted to do it or not, but I'm
know.
glad you did, because a lot of people have a lot of respect for you in Franklin County.
Well, I hope so. And it's like I always said, Dave, TV isn't my thing. That's bad enough. I have a face for radio.
I see some pictures on Facebook with you and Charlie on there holding baseball bats.
That's another one, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a retirement from Louisville Slugger.
Yeah.
And I can't remember. It's a friend of Charlie's who has something to do with the Wounded Warriors.
Wounded Warrior.
Yes,
Yeah.
and Louisville Slugger sponsors them. And so I got this bat. I said, wait, where'd this come from? It's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful, has your name all engraved in it when you started, when you left, VMT. Yeah, very, very, very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice, indeed.
Well-
So that's the Louisville Slugger. Not that I was going to hit him or he hit me.
Yeah.
No, no. It's been, it really has, and recapping the time that I've been, on the air, and, many opportunities have come up, and not only here, but in Canada too.
Yeah.
And it has, I can say, and I've stayed with radio. It's more than just playing music. And
Yeah.
I learned the whole thing and loved every minute of it too.
Well, Ernie, we're down to about less than 2 minutes,
That's it?
Yeah.
Where'd the time go here?
Yeah, well, I know that I wanted to thank you very much for coming on,
You're welcome.
And if you ever do want to do a show on your own, feel free, the
I
studio.
may have to get you in here, and I'll do the interviewing with you.
Yeah?
Then we'll
We'll talk about when I used to work for the city and all the...
and used to be the head of the union. Yeah. Used to read about that in the news too. Oh, yeah.
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 And the time I got rolled up for my telephone log, that Alan Raptor turned me in.
Then you used to get after the poor city manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have more respect for Bill Chaffee. I even went to
Bill
his
was a
wake.
great guy.
And I also went to the Army Cemetery in Randolph where he's buried. So
Great guy.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
individual.
He tried to keep taxes under control, but a lot of things, went by the wayside.
Right,
so,
right.
But he was a very fun person, and
Yes, he was.
I even got suspended one time for 5 days. He said, "How many days do you think you should be suspended for, McWilliams?" I said, "None." But I never lost respect for that guy.
Oh, I know. He was a great individual.
Yeah.
He really was.
Yeah.
No question about it whatsoever.
So, Ernie, we got to sign off. Thank you
Okay.
very much. I appreciate it.
You
And,
are welcome, and it's different for me because usually I'm on this side of the mic asking the question, but you're over there.
Yeah.
It's a little different. It went great. It
Yeah.
did. Very
And,
enjoyable.
If you see Charlie, tell him I'll get him on someday. I want to see how he squeals.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Dave. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.